Greetings, fellow indie enthusiasts. Tiki here,
And Blue Dragon 5.
and welcome to the 20th anniversary retrospective podcast for a little movie that is near and dear to my heart. It's the 2006 classic Little Miss Sunshine, arguably like the defining indie dramedy of the 2000s. Dragon, I don't even know what to. I don't even know. This movie's just fucking special, dude. I adore this movie. I always have. I adored it from the second I saw it for the first time. This is one of those movies where I did kind of like watch it every day for a while in high school just because it was so life affirming. And I got to admit, I was worried about going back on a rewatch. I rewatched it a couple of years ago for a movie night. But still, with movies like this, Dragon, you do not want to be a Garden State, okay? You do not want to be a movie where you adore it in high school and then you look back on it and you're like, oh shit, this is not good. This is pretty cringy. This movie is none of that. This movie fucking kicks ass. I think this movie is just so. I mean, it's wholesome. The screenplay is perfection. I mean, the screenplay, like literally, it's well known through Hollywood circles as being kind of perfect. Like people literally have written like high level essays.
Hello, Tiki.
Great.
Okay. Tiki, you kind of cut out. You kind of cut out there, Skosh. Could you?
You're kidding me. You're kidding me.
Uh,
You're kidding
no.
me too.
I'm cutting out right now.
Like I gave you a pause. Like I threw it over to you, and you just did not answer.
Well, yeah, because I couldn't hear I couldn't hear you. That's
Okay, I don't know what's up with my mic, dude. I don't know what's up with my mic.
okay.
This
Well,
is
the point
fucked.
being, you can hear me now. We can hear each other now, right now. Okay. So
My
accurate.
laptop setup is a Volkswagen. Let's just go with that analogy. It's falling apart, Dragon.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I think this is one of the indie greats. I guess the better way of putting it, this is like the National Lampoon's Vacation of indie films.
Sure, I like it a lot better than National Lampoon as a movie, but I get what you're saying.
Well, I'm just saying in terms of the definitive kind of family road, but the indie version of that
Sure,
comedy. This is kind of
sure,
the indie
sure.
version of National Lampoon's Vacation in terms of like the lauded, family road trip kind of movie, only far less comedic, or at least comedic in the traditional sense.
Except they made it to Wally World, and Wally World was open, but it was fucking terrible.
Yes, exactly. So without this film, we don't have Michael Arndt on Toy Story 3. Little Miss
Uh-huh.
Sunshine, very very key in the tones of and the reams and reams of film that is cinema. A nostalgia I have for this is I remember I think this was a Redbox rental for me just kind of put it circa
Oh man, Redbox, that's
2006.
a throwback.
That's the thing. I'm pretty sure this was a Redbox rental. I mean, most likely, it was mainly because of Steve Carell. Like that was like the big draw. Like, oh, Steve Carell's in this. Oh, wait, no.
Sure, yeah. Which
He was the
ironically,
hot
when he
ticket
was first
item.
cast, he was like one of the biggest unknowns, and the studio was like, I don't know, do we really want to get the Daily Show guy? I'll get into that with background. I'll get into that background. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, I didn't appreciate it then, like I do now. I think rewatching it, not just for this, but like rewatches, but I think like a proper like start to finish rewatch like this. I mean, it really dawns on me like, oh yeah, this movie, I knew it was good, but it's like, oh man, it's great. It's got
It was
strong
essentially
themes. It's got strong themes. It's got a great cast. It's very grounded. it's just this. It just has this great balance of charm and pathos, juxtaposed to the the cynical reality of the world. It's
Mm.
I always here's the thing. I always love Greg Kinnear. I love the actor
Uh-huh.
Greg Kinnear. And just the rewatch on this, it really sunk in like just how good he was and how I
He's
think he kind of
awesome in this
defined.
movie, and I honestly agree with you. I honestly like when I was a kid, I didn't really. He was maybe one of the cast members where I was like, yeah, he's good, but I feel like a lot of the other characters are kind of like eclipsing him. But no, I totally agree with you, Dragon. I had the same experience where on this particular watch, I was really like zeroed in on his performance in particular.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I mean, Kinnear, I like Kinnear and all the other things I've seen him in. I liked him in this, but this kind of like got kind of homogenized with Greg Kinnear in general. Like just all the kind of stuff I liked him in. But again, when I looking back on start to finish, and just seeing like just how narratively he was woven into the film, he's very much like on the rewatch, he's the cornerstones of thematic. Basically, it's him and Olive. That's very much, and you can look at any number. There's like any member of the family you can kind of like kind of dissect and kind of apply to the themes of the movie and the writing. It ends up being so strong. But I think just the dichotomy of kind of the optimism and kind of basically Greg Kinnear's character, Richard, it's kind of this dangerous optimism, which I love, and I love how we explore that. I love how we set up and we paid off. So just
There's
a lot
something
of
in the backstory about the whole winner attitude that I think you're
yeah.
gonna really love if you don't know about it.
I don't. I know nothing about the making of this movie, so
Oh, Dragon, you're really gonna love how the whole thing about his winner attitude. You're really gonna love where that came from.
because
Ooh, I'm
obviously,
excited to know
I love what Michael Arden did with Toy Story 3, and of course,
Uh-huh.
I remember when Toy Story 3 happened, I learned, oh my God, it's the guy from Little Miss Sunshine. What do you know? No wonder it was good. So it's kind
Right,
of put two
right,
and two
right.
together.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, that's me.
Okay, so Dragon, the genesis of this movie, there's a couple different things. I'm mostly gonna tell this backstory from the perspective of Michael Arndt because this really is kind of his movie through and through.
Little Mikey,
I mean, what?
Little Mikey.
Right. Like Jonathan Dayton, Valerie Ferris, like they directed it. They're solid directors, but I feel like in this movie they were I don't want to say they were directors for hire because that kind of diminishes it a little bit. But this was very much Michael Arndt's vision from top to bottom. This is
Well,
very much
often
Michael
movies
Arndt's
start with a
story.
good script, and then the director kind of like they find a director to support the writing. So of course, Michael Arndt would have to drive that.
Of course, of course. So Dragon, the genesis of the movie came from Arnold Schwarzenegger of all people, believe it or not.
Really?
So yeah, you're gonna really like this. You're gonna really like this. So
All
Michael
right.
Arndt, he he read a newspaper article about Arnold Schwarzenegger speaking to a group of high school students about basically the attitude that Greg Kinnear has. Like either you're a winner or you're a loser. Are you a winner? and Michael Arndt had been working on and this I believe this was in relation to Schwarzenegger, of course, with the Miss America stuff and or I'm sorry, the Miss California stuff, probably when he was governor, I'm guessing. It was probably in relation to that. But so essentially Michael Arndt was already working on a road trip screenplay. Like that the genesis of like the basically what you said, Dragon, his vision for the movie was essentially a more realistic and grounded version of Lampoon's Vacation. So you're right on the money with that, where he really just wanted to kind of capture like, okay, Lampoon's Vacation is kind of like the over the top kind of like Hollywood version of a family road trip gone wrong. This is like, granted, there's obviously stuff in this movie that happens that's a little outside of it's outside of the realm of a normal family
The,
vacation.
the Dean Norris section for sure.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to get to that. Oh my god. I forgot that we had not one but two Breaking Bad alum in this track, and I
Wait, you
totally
forgot?
Yeah, I did. I did. When
Very
Cranston
good.
popped up, I was like,
Yeah.
no. How did I not know
No,
about
no,
that?
this was an early one for Dean Norris. Yeah, this was an early.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I know your girl's in this
Anyways,
movie.
what?
Your girl's in this movie.
I know it. I know it, obviously.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so initially he was writing it as like an East Coast trip, basically from Maryland to Florida, so kind of like
Mm.
across the across the East Coast of the U.S. But with the Schwarzenegger interview, he changed it to California because of the, because he wanted to kind of like ape the, ape the whole like Miss California beauty pageant thing.
Yeah.
And that's also where the genesis of, okay, beauty pageant. Like, because the initial idea was basically just going to be like, it was essentially the same thing as Vacation with the added thing of Greg Kinnear's character was always going to be like the workaholic dad who was expecting the phone call and then crashes out about it. I believe the stuff with Dwayne and being colorblind and all that stuff was very early on in production. Paul Dano was one of the first people they cast, believe it or not, because he was one of the biggest unknowns. And the Volkswagen Bug, very much taken from Michael Arndt's own life, Dragon. Very much like that whole thing, that whole character in the movie, and I very much call the thing a character, is like basically everything that you see going down with that Bug, Dragon, from the from the having to push it to get it going to the broken door and the broken horn. That's all stuff that Michael Arndt experienced on family road trips in this. I'm not sure if it was a yellow one, but it was definitely the exact same type of make and model. And
in his heart, it was yellow.
Right. It could have very well been. I think the yellow was just maybe just because it pops, and it does pop. It does, like, I love the color in this movie.
Yeah.
So that kind of like solidified everything with the pageant thing, and the California angle. And I don't even think that Olive was a character until I think it was mostly just I don't even know if Steve Carell's character was part of it at the start. I think it was mostly just the mother, son, and husband. Those were the three characters that were kind of around from the get-go, basically. And then kind of everything else sort of like evolved around the So, for example, the grandpa character didn't come into it until the idea of like, okay, we want this super kind-hearted guy who's obviously got his own problems, obviously got his own demons, but he loves the shit out of his granddaughter. He's coaching his granddaughter, but at the same time, he's coaching her in maybe a problematic kind of way. I also want to say that I think Steve Carell's character was probably in it from the jump. That makes sense. I feel like it's too specific of a character, especially because I know that Dwayne's character was in it from the jump. And, obviously Steve Carell and Dwayne have a pretty central bond in the movie. So yeah, that was that. I honestly, Dragon, I looked high and low. I can't really find anything about why the directors were chosen, and frankly, I'm kind of frustrated about that. Like, I really do just think it's just a case of like, oh, they saw, like, Michael Arndt saw some of their music videos, and he was like, all right, let's get that.
Well, how did Arndt get the movie approved? Like, how did that will tell us how we get the directors? So, like, how did he end up getting a script turned into a movie?
Well, he was initially going to plan it. He was initially planning it, believe it or not, to be shot home video style, almost as like a found footage type of thing. Like, not obviously not horror, but kind of like a Super 8 sort of like. The whole idea was like to ape home movies. And let's see. Okay, no, I got it actually. They met during the production of Election, which is the same producers that were on this movie met David.
The Matthew Broderick movie Election.
Exactly, yeah. Huh. So it was a producer thing. It wasn't even Michael Arndt really didn't have much to do with it. Mark Turtletop was the producer, actually. And obviously, Mark Turtletop is, pretty well-known guy, pretty well-known producer in the industry.
Yep.
Anyways, so they used 5 different Volkswagen buses in the production of the movie for various different shot compositions. Like, one of them had the ceiling removed so they could get, like, overhead shots. One of them had basically it was just different ways to put the camera essentially through the 5 different buttons that they would use.
Process
and the casting was very much like they cast big casting call for all of essentially every. They didn't just put out for American actresses; they put out for any English-speaking actress between like I think the ages of like 7 to 10 or something like that to come. And obviously, they landed on Abigail Breslin, who has since I don't really think Abigail Breslin has done much recently, but she was obviously a pretty big child star for the time. So that was a big discovery. Like I said, Dwayne, Paul Dano, they landed on him really quickly. I think it was just an audition process, but
well, it's a shame that young man never went on to do anything substantial after this movie. I'll tell you that much, Tiki.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's not like he's worked with any of the big directors or been part of any like iconic franchises that have been going strong for 80 years. It's
So Paul Dano was one of the first people on board, and then so Tony Collette, Greg Kinnear, Alan Arkin, all three of those were like absolute like top tier, like that. Those were their first choices, and they were thrilled when they got them. I believe that Steve Carell was the last person cast. And like I said, Dragon, it was kind of funny where it's like the studio was very reluctant to cast him because it's like, I don't know, this guy doesn't have a lot of acting experience. Like up until that point, the only thing that he'd really been in that he was really known for was being a correspondent on The Daily Show. So this was like way before The Office, obviously. This was before 40-Year-Old Virgin. I think this was even before Bruce Almighty.
It might
have been right around the time of Bruce Almighty, Dragon. That Bruce Almighty honestly might have been what got him the role.
Well, that's the thing, because he had done Bruce Almighty in like 03. Now, The Office was in 05, but they probably were like, that's when that show came out, so it probably went right before he started shooting that, if anything.
I think it was before he started shooting it, yeah. I think he probably had just shot The 40-Year-Old Virgin, but that was one of those things where, that movie obviously is just kind of like one of those Hollywood success stories where when it comes out, no one really knows just how big of a deal it's going to be until it actually comes out and kind of like, became like kind of like the big sensation for a few years as far as comedy goes. Yep. So it was kind of like a happy accident where the studio was kind of like, all right, you know what, fine. We've got Greg Kinnear, we got Alan Arkin, we've got some pretty high profile people.
Of course, Alan Arkin's Hollywood royalty, so
of course. Alan Arkin was always like kind of like the big like A-list star in the movie as far as the casting goes. Yeah. So, the studio's like, all right, we'll take a risk on this Carell guy. We'll see what happens.
It sounds like it was like a Jim Carrey situation where it was like Carrey shot his 3 big successes in the same year, right. But it was the thing where they didn't know until they came. That's what I'm saying. I think he was probably shooting this right as 40-Year-Old Virgin and The Office were coming out. So that's kind of like they didn't know until the thing premiered.
40-Year-Old Virgin was 2004 that came out. So I believe this was probably shooting right before that came out.
Well, no, 40-Year-Old Virgin came out in 2005.
Oh, did it? Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that and The Office were 05.
I'm going to have to fact check that. I'm sorry. I thought Knocked Up. Oh, no, you're right. Okay. Knocked Up.
So that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying it probably. I don't think you're far off. I think probably while they were shooting, Little Miss Sunshine, those movies were coming out, but they were already in the can and coming out. So they didn't know when studios were looking at them. Mm-hmm. Like how big successes they were going to be. So you're right. So I'm just saying it's kind of like, oh my God, the man is becoming a mega star by the time they had their little indie movie coming out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the last little tidbit I want to just share is the whole the pageant. The pageant was filmed, basically like how you see it, just kind of like in a random hotel in LA. Yeah. But every performer besides Abigail Breslin, obviously, was essentially just kind of like transplanted from the actual like pageant world. And not only that, but they were doing the routines that they had been perfecting like on stage for, their entire like fucking creepy career. Yeah. Like, I do not like the beauty pageant thing.
Dragon. Well, that's but they accurately showcase
the point of the movie. Yeah. Obviously that's the point of the movie, but it's like
it's supposed to be creepy. And that's the whole yeah.
Mr. Wynn would have a field day with that last act, Dragon.
It's accurate. It's very accurate.
So yeah, I mean that's about it. Obviously, the movie was a huge success, big indie darling. I feel like it's just grown a bigger and bigger reputation over the years. I feel like the screenplay in particular, along with the cast, is just kind of like almost sort of like legendary at this point. It's kind of gained this legendary status as just like a perfectly written movie. Like I said, it's like I've seen college professors literally do like thesis papers about just how well structured the screenplay is. So yeah, I think that's about it, Dragon.
All right.
All righty. Dragon, I have one thing that I want to get into you with right off the bat before like as we start, because I think it's kind of pivotal to the opening scene where we're just kind of being introduced to the characters. What do you think of the music in this movie? Are you a fan of the music in this movie, the score?
Uh, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. It's kind of ambient. It's kind of like it's kind of feels again. It matches the grounded tone of the movie. I felt.
So the music was done by a band called Devotchka. And the way that I would describe them is essentially like, I mean, back in the day that it was like called gypsy music, but obviously that terminology is a little bit outdated, but essentially it's kind of like eccentric traveling musician type of music where it's like a lot of fiddles, a lot of string instruments kind of coming together, very much going for almost kind of like a Southwest flair with the whistling and everything like that. I think the music in this movie, like it's always stood out to me. I love
Well,
the
I
song.
know the opening that gets used all the time in background videos and stuff on YouTube.
Yes,
Like Nostalgia Critic, for example, uses that music all the time.
the opening song is called "And the Winner Is," and yes, it is indeed one of the I think one of the great like opening scores for any movie. I mean, it really just sweeps you in. I love all the different little motifs, like how when Dwayne comes in, we get kind of like the marching drums coming in. And just generally speaking, just it's like 2 to 3 minutes maybe, and we're introduced to everyone. We're introduced to
Yeah.
like Olive and the grandpa with the pageant stuff. We're introduced to Dwayne and his work ethic. Cheryl kind of being the kind of the glue that's holding the family together. Greg Kinnear kind of being overly ambitious, but then the shot of the kind of like very much half interested audience that he's giving his speech to, sort of setting the tone for the fact that this guy's ambitions might be a little bit ahead of the actual reality of where he is in life. And then finally ending on Steve Carell, the shot of Steve Carell in the hospital in the wheelchair
Yeah.
is the final. Like, in once again, Dre, just again, I'm going to use the term perfect a lot to describe this movie, but I just think it's that open. It sets up everything just so well, man.
So with a few things to hit with just kind of with the opening. So we have the Hoover family from Albuquerque, which is very befitting given some of our guest stars in this film. I imagine they shot in Albuquerque because of the New Mexico tax incentive and everything. Basically, it's
They
far more
actually
cost.
shot in Arizona and California, believe it or not. None of this
Oh,
was
okay.
shot in New Mexico.
So they didn't shoot any of like the beginning was not shot in New Mexico.
It was just Arizona and California locations.
Okay, good to know. Well, again, I guess you know what, geography wise, they probably wanted. Okay, we don't want it to be too far, but we don't want it to be too,
Right. Yeah. That was the
just
logic.
ironic in that sense.
Mhm.
Okay, anyway, so yes, our opening. You're right. We meet everyone in a very economic manner, but with that, one just with a 3 act structure. I love that the whole movie's over the course of 3 days, and each act essentially is the 3 days. We have the Friday in which we have the dinner and everything kind of comes about. Saturday is it's kind of where everything, at the end of Act Two, basically is where a dramatic thing happens in the morning, where we kind of start with the morning after, and that's Sunday. So again, so it's the weekend trip. So I like that
But I
each
like
act.
how they don't really spell it out. Like we don't have the Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
3 days until the Little Miss Sunshine pageant. 2 days until the Little Miss Sunshine
Oh
pageant.
yeah. It's not
I'm not
spelled
really
out. It's
really
just you kind
spelled
of
out.
feel it. We know there's a bit of a ticking clock,
Right.
but it's not in your face. It's like okay,
Mhm.
well, basically it's we're traveling and a day has gone by. And anyway, so anyways, in which I like that with our opening that you're talking about, we establish each family member has an unattainable goal. So
Yes,
Richard
absolutely.
failed
absolutely.
life coach with the 9 steps, which the gag with there's a lot of dark comedy in this. Really, not dark comedy, but I mean, it's kind of like I don't know, it's not kind
The
of
word
dark,
I
not
would
kind of
use
black
is like
comedy.
melancholy
Yeah,
almost.
the melancholy, I guess,
Uh-huh.
is it's basically he ripped off the 12-step program and basically used it,
Yes.
which
Yes.
now later on we
It's so
explain why his
unoriginal,
thing
so
failed.
hackneyed.
So later on we explain.
And you really do. I love how with the dynamic with Cheryl, it's like we really do get like the whole history of these two. Like you could just picture the whole thing where it's like she falls for him because she's this like he's just this really motivated like go-getter guy, and then as she's kind of getting it, she's like, wait a minute, this guy's kind of blowing smoke up his ass a little bit.
Oh,
And then by the end of it, it's like, enough with the 9 steps, Richard. Fuck.
F the 9 steps. So,
Like, I love how much history is just written into the screenplay with these characters. I
well, that's
think
the
that's
thing.
one of the great things the script does.
The little looks that she gives him, you can kind of see like
Yes.
the
Yes.
spousal kind of frustration there. Anyway, so again, it's pretty much, I guess, 12 steps ripoff, or at least he's emphasizing the steps of it all, which is going on. Anyway, which again, later
That's
on, we
reality.
established.
It's a little easier. It's a little more accessible, baby.
Yeah, it's like basically shaved off 3 steps, which I think is hilarious.
Right.
But later on we established that that's not why his thing didn't go through, but I'm sure it didn't help. Anyway, like I said, Cheryl ultimately her unattainable goal. She's trying to maintain the family unit, be the glue, the kind of the matriarch and everything.
And also
Dwayne,
keep the family normal to a certain extent.
exactly, which obviously very much fails at, but not in a bad,
Yes.
fortunate way, but she fails at. That's what I'm saying. So the movie's about losing and failing and all that, but in kind of a way, it's like failure is good, but not in the not in a schmaltzy way.
Triumphant failure is probably the thesis.
There you go. So Dwayne wants to be a test pilot, and he's taking a vow of
And
silence.
Greg, I mean, it's like I think I've talked about Dwayne before and just offhand in different conversations. Like there is one scene in this movie, you know exactly what it is, where it's like,
Yeah.
dude, every time I see that scene, it fucking just absolutely just.
Well, Tiki, that
I
seems
can barely even talk about it without like you literally just heard my voice kind of choke up right there.
Well, Tiki, that seems why we cast him as you in the biopic.
Exactly.
That got Dano the part as Tiki in the biopic. It's just like the scene of Matthew Reese in Beautiful Neighborhood. Got him cast as me in that movie.
Oh God.
Anyway, so Frank is Frank is his unattainable goal is it's kind of a few things. It's kind of like on the I guess the slightly more optimistic side, it's finding love, but really it's the unsuccessful attempt at killing himself. So again, take it for what you will. I feel like
Frank's goal is a little bit more abstract than the other family.
Well, no, you're right. It is abstract, but I'm just saying if you look just visually, what we have is that it's a failed suicide.
I feel like with Frank, the whole thing with Frank is that he's already lost, right?
Yeah.
And the rest of the family is kind of catching up to them and to him, and for that reason, I feel like it's interesting that with Frank, he is the one that actually kind of like starts to sort of go through this metamorphosis earlier than the other characters because he's already hit rock bottom at literally the first time we meet him.
You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, that's the thing. Frank is kind of the instrument. He's kind of the pawn. He kind of like in a game of pong. He's like the ball. He's kind of Anyway, but that's the thing though. He's very. But I'm saying visually from the get go, his representation of the suicide attempt is that he represents failure, a failed attempt at killing himself.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm just saying, like symbolically, is kind of that's why Frank's such a pivotal character in that sense. He's visually, and he's like we've put him at rock bottom, and he's our POV character at the beginning. In the beginning of things, to introduce all of our characters at the dinner table because he's the foreign element that is reintroduced into the family, and that's how we introduce everyone at the table. Sure. Edwin, of course, with the drug addiction, I guess specifically he liked the retirement home, but he got kicked out of it because of the drug addiction. So there's a little, So and then lastly but not least, we have Olive, the beauty pageant aspirations with Little Miss Sunshine. So boom, everyone there. So story-wise, again, so Frank has made an attempt on his life. He's our Eisen character into the family. What I want to highlight about Steve Carell before I forget about it is, a Steve Carell performance that people, especially by the time they see this movie, they would have seen like some of the bigger the comedic things. Even if like it was Bruce Almighty alone, they have an expectation of Carell and The Daily Show or what have you.
Mhm.
And this was like
He's
this
ha
was like the
ha
first.
funny office man to a
Yeah,
lot of
and this was the
people.
first time they saw, like, honestly, one of my favorite things with Carell. I love two things with Carell. I love, there's dramatic Carell, which we get here, but in addition to the smart writing with the comedy, with the melancholy comedy that we have here, and stuff that we do much later with them, I love when we do kind of drama and pathos, or like kind of pathos within the comedy, which I think Steve Carell does amazingly well. Look at some of his stuff recently, for example, like Rooster or Space Force.
Mhm.
Space Force is a little heavier on the comedy, but again, there's like you care about that guy. There's a very human kind of like everyman kind of quality. This Steve Carell that can shine through the surface, a charm and a charisma. And I think even within the melancholy here, again, you feel for Frank, and you're kind of hoping you're kind of cheering him on during the metamorphosis, I guess you could say.
Totally,
Anyway,
totally.
so anyways, but I like that we pair him with Dwayne, which is a really genius idea in the movie. So it's kind of depression and silence kind of combined, which is not a healthy combination, but actually bears really good fruit in the movie.
They are such kindred spirits, and I love how their bond has, obviously until the third act, and even in the third act, they basically have one conversation, and
Yeah,
that's about it, and that's all you need,
yeah.
really. But it's basically all more or less silent, except for obviously the little handwritten notes. But man, Dano blew everybody away on that set because he's like if you notice in the edit and the directors talked about this and making of stuff where it's like they cut to Dano a lot in the edit just because he's giving them so much to work with just with his face.
Of course, Tarantino puts those movie roles like, oh, Dano again.
Yeah, the Dano kid, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, here's the it's kind of
I
the
wonder if Tarantino's problem with Dano is such that he has small feet.
does he have small feet?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. But I imagine that Tarantino probably has a fucking Rolodex of every actor's shoe size. So who
Yeah.
knows?
Anyway,
Oh God, Dragon, you know that Tarantino at some point in his life has jacked off to the fucking to the Peggy Hill foot fetish episode.
why you gotta put that visual in my head, man? Come on.
You know it's true though. You know it's
See,
true.
you know where I was gonna go with? I was gonna go somewhere a lot more innocent. I was gonna go somewhere where Tarantino, like a dog, he steals everyone's left shoe. That's what I like to think.
Oh God. Oh Jesus Christ.
There's the sneaks, very sneaky. Just go use this roll by
Dude,
whoop.
I genuinely love how Matthew Lillard was kind of like the last straw with people. Like after
Yeah,
Matthew Lillard, people are kind of like, okay, you know what? Fuck this guy a little bit.
and with
He can
Dano's
still
the
make good
acquired,
movies, but he's kind of a piece of shit.
and with Dano, you have like a choir of Ave Maria played every time they spring to his defense.
Right, right, right.
Anyway, so the point being, another thing we have with these two, and the reason they're really good paired together, is that one's very much obsessed with Nietzsche, and the other one Proust. So
Mhm,
they're kind of
mhm.
bouncing off each other in that kind of scholarly sense as well. So we have the chicken dinner, very meager feast, which again says a lot about our guys here. Which is it's like chicken again. The Alan Arkin going into a rant about the chicken.
Always with the fucking chicken.
God, I miss Alan Arkin, man. I tell you, he was. Did you ever finish the Kosminski Method?
I never did. I just watched the first season.
Yeah, but he was good in the first season. What you saw, right?
He was. He was.
Okay. So Olive is asking Frank about the scars and everything, and this leads to. I was really impressed by this, and it's really good writing on Arn's part. The discussion about suicide at the table, and I love that we accomplish many things here. So one again, Olive can innocently ask questions, and which kind of brings about a kind of a really interesting topic for us, the viewing audience. We have Frank answering her in not like a gruesome, overly detailed way, but it's like any parent trying to explain a heavy topic to their
I
child. You get the
really love
sense,
some of Frank's interactions with Olive because he really does. I love the mix of he's trying to keep it real, but at the same time,
yeah.
obviously, he's not trying to traumatize the girl.
which is great. And on the flip side, though, you have one of my dynamics, one of the dynamics I love in this movie, Richard and Frank, and the idea
Mhm.
that there's animosity there, but it's like it's so Richard, he means well, but he's interjecting, he's clinging to the whole life coach thing versus the accepting reality. But of course, the byproduct of that is a character. Why I love Richard, when I look at this movie, is that it presents a dangerous optimism that risk hurting his family more than it does helping it. And we have like this line that you kind of look at Carell's face and it kind of breaks your heart, where he says, "Uncle Frank gave up on himself." And
Mhm.
it's just that,
Mhm.
that's what I'm talking about. Like that's the contrast between them. Where again, like Frank he's accepted reality and he's trying to work through it. Richard's kind of delusional here, but again, it's like you can't fault him for trying to have an upbeat attitude, but for making it a philosophy, like a light, you have to follow this in order to succeed, or like we don't accept failure. Basically, Richard is kind of representing kind of like, kind of essentially what we kind of prophesize in the world. And everyone's like, we put so much emphasis on success over failure, and it just kind of like it kind of makes people on edge.
Mhm. Sure, sure,
Anyway,
sure.
so like he admires. And here's the thing: like on the flip side, Richard, he admires his son's battle sons. He's proud of him for the weird choice, for the lack of normalcy there, which again is an admirable quality, because it's in pursuit of his dream. But again,
Exactly,
all of
exactly.
this,
It's like because basically all he sees with Dwayne is basically like the motivation, and he doesn't see how Dwayne is kind of cutting himself off and kind
hmm
of having some serious tunnel vision with what he
exactly.
wants to do. Yeah,
And again,
yeah.
it's like he's being blind to his own tunnel vision with his goals. That's taking him away from
Mhm.
his family, or at least in one sense
Blind
tonight.
vision puns.
Yes, Tiki, yes. Well, the point being with Richard, one of the great things about his character, and I guess also is kind of like the indie version of Clark Griswold, is that there's a powder keg effect here. Is that you're
Yep.
stoking the powder keg with all these unrealistic hopes that are going to blow up later
And that powder
via
keg
Dwayne.
is named Stan Grossman.
Well, no, no. Yeah, he's right. Yes, he's the powder keg, but I mean, like the match is Dwayne. Dwayne is the
Mhm.
match, and I like that again. He's putting these proud the son's vow of silence, and of course, the one that's going to enlighten everyone to this is going to be Dwayne later on. It's a good setup and payoff.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, thanks to a technicality, Olive qualifies for the Little Miss Sunshine competition in California. That's a big haul, though. It's a big travel conflict. And what is it? Was it the aunt who was initially supposed to take her?
Yeah, I think so. That sounds about right.
It was
Yeah,
aunt or
yeah.
friend of the family. I'm going to say aunt just
Pretty
for
sure
like.
it's Anne's. Yeah.
So again, the aunt can't get there because she's doing like her usual hippie thing for some reason, like her thing she always does. So
With
it's
the
on it's on
horses dragging with the two horses. They had to bring
right.
both horses.
Yes.
So it's a real it's a big deal, Dragon, when they bring both the horses.
Yeah. So they only have so basically they only have 2 days to roughly 2 days to get there, and the whole family has to go because we can't leave the suicide risk alone. We can't leave the teenager alone who can't speak. So anyway, so it's Richard asked the big question in the movie here to Olive. There's a big moment. He says, "Are you going to win? Because you're going to feel silly out here if you go and you don't think you have a chance to win here." So again, the father is putting pressure. We know this kind of stuck with her from later on. The last scene she has with Grandpa, the father has put pressure on on her here. With the whole winning versus the winners versus losers philosophy here.
Sure, sure.
So again, just the great thing. Again, he's trying to be again, but again, he's trying to be a good father here, which I love. It's like the character flaw in this guy. Anyway, and again, also, I'm sorry, one last thing. So Richard and Edwin, they differ in that, where ultimately, and we draw a fine point on this later on, is that Richard, again, positive attitude, which he equates with being a winner. Edwin, on the other hand, as he puts it here, like if you try, that's a win in itself. To him, that's
Mhm.
winning. If you tried, you did your best, you did your best. That's a win. That's a great philosophy to have. We kind of see where he got the attitude from, but he kind of, again, to manifest it, he's just driven it to the point of lunacy.
Mhm. Sure, sure, sure.
All right, so our vehicle of choice here, the yellow which is another I like. It's not just like thrown there for the heck of it. Is that it has a clutch, which the wife cannot drive, which is why the movie is not shorter. you know,
Dragon, I think this is one of the most all-time iconic movie vehicles. Like, I think this thing's right up there with the DeLorean. That
It's like
might
the
that,
magic.
that might sound like a hot take, but I treat like this thing has, it's got so much character to it. It really is a living, breathing character inside of this movie.
It's like the hippie cousin of the Magic School Bus.
Kind of.
But no, to your actual point. Here's the thing. It's really hard to get an iconic movie vehicle, just because again, iconic movie vehicles are usually nowadays we're linked to just purely to comic book movies. But
Uh-huh.
it's so rare do we have something that can at least be in the same class. I don't think this tops the DeLorean, but it's in the same car.
No, nothing's gonna top the
Yeah,
DeLorean. Come on now, but I think it's
that's the
in the
thing.
same class. Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do to have like a vehicle that iconic that like sometimes people will design vehicles they think are going to become iconic and they end up not.
Like, for example, the Jurassic Park Jeep, like that's
Yeah.
iconic.
Yes.
It's not just taking a make and model of a vehicle and just putting it on screen. You know what I mean?
Imagine
And
how much
obviously,
harder.
with the DeLorean, we do have the time travel stuff inside of, like, in the interior, but exterior wise, it is essentially just a DeLorean.
Like circa the 2000s onward, it's hard to come up with an iconic vehicle. That's what I'm saying. Like
Uh-huh.
90s back, that's it's easy. Like Bullet, the
I mean,
DeLorean, Knight Rider.
have you seen the design of cars throughout the last like 20-ish years?
Don't make
It's
me
not
cry on
great.
this. Don't make me cry on this podcast, Tiki. Let's just.
Are you
So,
saying that you don't think one of those stupid fucking cyber trucks could be an iconic movie vehicle, Dragon?
unless you paint it black and somehow retrofit into a Batmobile, no, I don't think it can be.
Okay, but even then, that's kind of like what we were talking about with the Jurassic Park Jeep. At that point, it ceases to be what it originally
Exactly.
was.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
So yeah, by that logic, no. Tiki, no.
Mhm,
That's the only way you can make me care about that car. That's what I'm saying.
mhm.
All right,
And then,
so
ironically enough, I do love all the Breaking Bad connections. Where Breaking Bad, another very famous vehicle and film that was
yep,
very much a character in its own right.
yeah, on the small screen, but still, yes, you're right.
Mhm, mhm.
But yeah, so this car has a lot of character to it. It's the symbol of the film. It's hope breaking down. It's needing a push. It's symbolically, it's everything they're dealing with.
Mhm.
So we go to the restaurant. The restaurant scene is neat. They have like a $4 budget. To show you, but also show they're really scrapped for cash because they're expecting their ship to come in with Richard's big deal, and that's one of the reasons they're not flying. But we have like little bits here and there, like the waffles a la Modi, which is so darn cute, by the way.
I wonder if that was an improv on the part of the actress playing the waitress.
I would like to think so.
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, Abigail Breslin, she can't.
I think that the whole thing with the ice cream, like, I'm not saying that Richard is a bad guy by any means. This is easily his worst moment as a father in the movie. Would you
But
agree
this
with
is the
that?
thing, though. I hear yes, but I like that it feeds into the whole like the helping versus hurting thing with this character, where again it's the flawed father thing, where he's one. This thing accomplishes a lot of things. So it's a natural call out for like the issue she's going to face in Act 3. The whole at some point in the movie they have to address. Okay, she's not going to look like the other girls participating in the pageant, which is basically going to like spell it out to us like, okay, she has no chance, but we're going to delude the audience into thinking she has a chance,
Mm-hmm.
for just like for the times, the whole like body image was not really as open minded as it is today. Like then she would have had no chance.
This is very true. This is very true. Yeah.
But that's the thing. I like that we kind of acknowledge it here and we set it up, and using Richard as the vehicle of doing that is showing that helping versus hurting thing, where he is genuinely in the way he's playing the scene. The way Kinnear's playing is like he is trying to help her and trying to he's trying to like help her through life and give her like a life success kind of thing here. And he's trying to again every piece of fatherly advice or nugget that he's trying to give her here, it ends up still being like an advertisement for the 9 steps at the end of the day, which is another hilarious thing of what he's doing. But my favorite little bit right before that, though, before the ice cream, he says, when she's apologizing to the waitress, don't apologize. It's a sign of weakness. Like, I love that. It's a great little bit for him. Anyway, no, but you're right, though. It's a very unlikable kind of thing that he does. And, she's, like the wife just staring daggers at him as she should and as everyone should. But again, I like that is coming from this that he's trying to help.
I do like that this moment, like, Olive gets a little bit of catharsis from this moment, and like, literally the one positive thing that happens to her in the beauty
I know,
pageant.
I love that. I love the payoff. Yes, the payoff's
Uh-huh.
perfect. As I've said,
Uh-huh.
setup and payoff's really good in this movie, which is the mark
Yeah,
of a really good movie. You can earmark your 3 acts. You have setup and payoff, nothing wasted, to my knowledge, and I'm sure to your recollection. We don't waste anything in this movie, do we? We don't waste that Alamodi ice cream.
every part of the Buffalo Dragon.
Every part of the buffalo. All right, so the clutch goes out. They're in a driving lesson, which leads to a literal running gag. And how perfect is that?
Right.
I can't tell you this again. Per our image here, again, it was like the hallmark of the whole movie. This idea that they have to run to get into the car. It's a great team building thing they do too. It's kind of like building, on them kind of combining they have to rely on each other. They have to help each other, or else they're not going to move anywhere. It's really
Yeah,
natural.
definitely.
See, these are the moments that make you think,
It's
man, that
almost
guy
like
should
it's a
write for.
symbolism or something.
Well, this is what I say. These are the kind of writing details. Like this is the kind of thinking they need at Pixar, and lo and behold. All right. It's also a very National Lampoon's Vacation kind of indie film kind of thing as well. It's like the whole family trucks are breaking down and all this kind of stuff happening to it. The fact that they're taking the mechanics as well. We can order the part, but technically, if you just do all these like little specific wacky things, you can drive. It's like, okay, we're gonna do that.
Mhm.
So we built up Stan Grossman. Stan Grossman, he's fueling Richard's optimism. He's building Richard's hopes that he'll be the next Tony Robbins. In which case, it's not going to end up being that.
Tony Robbins hungry.
Exactly. So the book, the media tour, but again,
That
it's
stupid fucking gag was one of my all-time favorite Family Guy bits for a while. I'm not gonna lie. Just the visual of it, just fucking cracked me up.
Yeah. So the reality situation is Grossman's ghosting him before it was really a thing, and he didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So Frank and Frank and Richard again. It's just like I said, great contrast. We have the. Sorry, I already kind of made that point. I want to talk about the sarcasm gag with Frank. Just really, that to me was like some great Carell comedy right there. He's just saying, "Oh, thank you. How much do I owe you for that?" No, with some Richard.
Yeah.
Just again, he's bumping up against the optimism, which is the harsh reality of like, okay, well, no, Richard, you gotta just tone it down a little again with the 9 steps, a little bit, but he's being very polite about it, or at least polite within reason. So speaking of which, we should talk about the Dirty Mags and Slushy scene at the gas station.
Oh man! Again, set up and payoff, Dragon. Fucking set up and payoff.
Would think.
What I love about
it. Now let me ask you.
Here's a goddamn buffalo, dude.
Okay, now here's one flaw potentially with this. I want to ask you your opinion on this. Okay, I want you to tell me what you think. Is it too easy that Frank runs into his ex and the new guy at this gas station?
Yeah, is
it a miracle exception? Is it?
But I do think that both that and the scene where we actually get Cranston, both of those scenes do kind of, I feel like, mostly just because of the fact that we are introducing like people outside of the family. It's a little contrived.
I don't know about Cranston. Cranston, we built up Grossman exactly where it was going to be from the very beginning. I think Cranston is a lot more excusable than this one's like what are the odds? I mean, this one's like literally what are the odds?
No, you're right. Yeah.
The other one we'd like spell out Scottsdale. I think we know it's in Scottsdale. All right, so let's see. But again, so Edwin's quest for porn ultimately is something that saves them all in Act 3. So really good.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's see. Also, so Richard's deal falls through. He learns on the payphone, falls through. There's a big problem. There's a lot of tension within our husband-wife dynamic. They forgot Olive. The girl has to jump into the moving vehicle. It's like, hey, we're coming back for you. Run, child. Jump in the car. And the bit that I completely forgot was in this movie that really moved me. I'm going to tell you. I expected them to pull the rug out from under it. I expected them to just kind of have like a little like oh, he's doing this because he wants drugs or something. But no, it wasn't this. Edwin has genuinely kind words to his son. When everything fell through, because he re-emphasized his philosophy about the trying, and he tried, and it's a lot more than anyone else did, and that really softened.
Sure. Yeah.
Like Richard's trying to brush it off at first, but he kind of like takes it, but it doesn't sink in until
Which again is a setup. That's what makes the ending of this movie like one of the most fucking cathartic endings to any movie ever.
Oh yeah. So I guess so. We already mentioned the whole Dwayne's listening through the thin walls to the F the 9 steps argument.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the final scene between Olive and Edwin, which is a beautiful and tragic scene for many
This
reasons.
is a scene that won Alan Arkin the Oscar, almost undoubtedly, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, his sheet acting was really good, though.
Very true. Very true.
Yep. So him reassuring. So again, this is what I'm saying with the setup and payoff. Though with that ice cream thing, is that Richard and his actions with the Alamodi thing was like, she's kind of doubting herself a little bit about the body image and everything. So Edwin reassures her, you're beautiful inside and out. She fears losing and disappointing her father because they've gone to all this trouble for the whole winning thing. And then Alan Arkin earns the Oscar when he says, "A real loser is someone so afraid of losing they don't try," which is just pitch perfect right there.
So basically, he's spitting some Yoda facts in so many words.
Yeah. So it's lovely, but also it's like he's been. I love that we set up that he's been helping her with the routine. He's kind of been dooming her, in a sense. Ultimately, again, she doesn't perceive it as being doomed or like a failure ultimately at the end. But it's like the fact that he's being very positive and he's being very supportive, but it's also been kind of doing her when we see how exactly he's been helping her out and how he steered the act and all the performances and everything. But what really makes this scene beautiful and tragic, which I never really caught until this watch, was that he's trying to leave the room when she's like calling his attention, like any grandchild, the grandparent's trying to get away or do something. But again, he's trying to get away to do heroin, and she's pulling him back every bit during that scene. It's just that human moment right before the end. It's like it's just great that I don't know, it's perfect.
I hear you.
Okay, so let's see. So echoing that theme of that scene about the importance of trying, we parallel that with Richard. He tries. Which again, it really, I got to admit, man, this is where I'm going to go maudlin on you. Okay, it's not going to measure up to your Dano scene. I'm going to throw it out there. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe a part of why this Richard character really strikes me or hits me where I live in places is the whole I guess more so by Edwin's philosophy and kind of what we're doing here is that the whole Edwin's trying philosophy, the whole so long as you've done everything you can say at the end of the day, I did everything I could, I tried, I think that really does count for something. And seeing the Richard character in this scene doing everything he can, and I've kind of been in Richard's position here just a little bit. Not as dramatically, mind you. I didn't buy like a motorbike or rent a motorbike off a guy to go to drive all the way to Scottsdale. But this move that he pulls here, I think I bumped into this once, where he tracks the guy and he finds him via the ringtone. I've kind of done this.
Oh no!
I confronted the guy. I called him. I saw him duck the call. So yeah. But again, I love that scene. I love that. What do you think there? So Cranston, one of the most memorable scenes.
You know what's funny about Cranston in the scene is I almost kind of feel like he's giving like Richard Schweikart energy a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. I'm glad you see it too.
Oh, no, of course, yeah. So this is Cranston right before Breaking Bad, by the way. So they have a conversation. This scene always left an impression because like the lighting by the pool and it being Cranston and everything. It was always like a really good scene. And it's just he tells him that the reason he just kind of the reason the whole thing fell through is that it is a good program, Richard, but you're not essentially you're not Tony Robbins. You're a no name. No one knows who you are. So the deal fizzled out because of that. And it's just explains there's no winning in this, which that's the line that kind of guts him at his core. There's no winning. There's no
of course,
positive
yeah.
attitude that's gonna, it's a reality. Again, it's like reality comes crashing in on his head here. It's like, it's just it fizzled out because But what I love in this scene, this is why you get Cranston. Okay, this is why Cranston brings everything that even it's a bit part like this. One scene wonder. I love that when Richard storms off and again like doubling down the optimism, like, you're out. Just I'm gonna take it somewhere else. I'm out. Yada yada. It's like Cranston. You can see in the performance. I love the regret and the humanity on Cranston that it's a reality of his business that he goes to the guy. He's not necessarily regretting that, but what he's regretting is that I think he genuinely believed in the 9 steps, as he kind of said in the conversation, and he tried, but it's the fact that he didn't think how it could utterly destroy his client, destroy this guy if it fell through, and like how the ghosting would wound him. Like that's the thing. That's what Cranston really drove home, is that he didn't do this like to be a malicious, like skeezy guy. He just, he was trying to do like a kind of a clean break on the thing. It was kind of like, kind of a Hollywood talk sort of thing,
Sure.
But being confronted by and seeing the regret on him in this moment, like we said, Richard, he's like, when he's calling him back, I think he genuinely means it. I don't think he's just trying to save face. All right. So we transition to Act 3 beautifully here. So the Act 2 to Act 3 thing, where it's the next morning, and this is a traumatizing scene for me. I will tell you that much. But yes, the already defeated Richard learns Grandpa's dead. It's a drawn out, sad scene again. The basically it's my nightmares come to life. Just the next morning, the person's not waking up, and just basically the whole process that happens after that. Which thankfully I've not been in the hospital side of it, but just seeing it go down the way it goes down here, there is like that hollow emptiness that happens right after the death, and that's kind of what they really hit on here very accurately. I think Edwin being in the hospital about basically his death, it puts everything in perspective for Cheryl. Paul Dano had a really good bit with the with the "Go Hug Mom" note.
Oh, that's one of my favorite Dwayne bits for sure.
Love it.
What I love about that moment is kind of like as the movie's going on, it's like Dwayne is kind of like slowly but surely kind of like reaccumulating his affection for these people.
Let me ask you something, okay? In the hotel scene when he is, when Frank's trying to distract him by putting on Bush, which is a terrible idea, but he's trying to distract him by putting that on, and then he turns it off to listen to the argument. Is he listening to the argument out of glee of them, like kind of like suffering the way he's suffering and being in the family?
My read on that scene from the perspective of someone who did go through, a divorce. I was a lot younger than Dwayne when that happened, but still. It's almost kind of like, all right, good. Let's just fucking expedite this process because I'm sick of like just lingering in the misery. Like, let them really get at each other so that they can actually so that something can fucking happen one way or another. Not just my read on it though. And I do like that. I honestly feel like that shot is one of the most provocative shots in the whole movie. And I don't think there's just one interpretation to it.
I think it's a solid take, though. It's a solid read on it, though. All right. Let's see. Okay, I'm sorry. Back to the house. Okay, so we see Dwayne cares, which we're kind of building that up for our big kind of like emotional blowout with him on the. Is it on a beach or where was that? Where was he?
It's like on the side of a road.
Yeah, it was like a roadside. I don't know, like because it was kind of deserty.
The beach scene is you might be thinking of the scene with Dwayne and Frank later on. That's the beach scene.
You're right. I'm kind of I don't know. I was just kind of I don't know. I could have sworn it felt like sand, but it's just desert land. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, so the point, we have the death of the hospital, which is very clinical, very the bureaucratic aftermath of death. We really hit that well here, and we have a familiar face. Tiki. We have Paula Newstone. Paula Newstone is Janice Moss from Barry. She was the lady who.
Oh, okay, yeah. Dude. I'm glad you said that because like it was driving me crazy because like that lady looks so familiar, but I can't quite place it.
And you saw her somewhat recently in Spider-Man: No Way Home. She was the lady that she was the dean of admissions that Peter Parker saved from Doc Ock. Remember, she's the one who wanted to hit Doc Ock with her. Oh, I see you. That's her. Anyway, she was good in this scene too. Again, she was trying to be tactful, but again, she has the way she kind of snaps at him. I feel the burial transit problem is a legit BS thing. So Richard, I think obviously we're going very Clark Griswold from National Lampoon's here with the Aunt Edna from that movie. The whole we're transporting the corpse via the car. So if the most National Lampoon's thing we do in the whole movie, by the way.
Oh, without a doubt. This is basically like a full-on homage to Lampoon, for sure.
Which is great. So I think, in my personal, I think Richard's within his rights to be upset. Taking the body and
no, just a little bit. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no. I mean, with how she's she shouldn't have yelled at him that way because he was just trying.
You know what? You know what really fucking bothers me about it, Dragon? About the whole encounter and her attitude is the faux sympathy of it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's it starts the scene starts and she's like, "I'm so sorry for your loss," but then the second that this guy gives her any sort of trouble, the second that this guy makes her job any fucking harder than she wants it to be, she's like, "You're not, you aren't the only one who's had someone die here today, okay?"
Exactly.
It's okay, so you really are just heartless at the end of the day. You really do not care. This is fucking theater for you, basically, just performing, pretending to be sympathetic,
She played, as I'm saying, Newstone played that so well, though, just the shift there. All right, let's see. So again, we have the body hijinks. For some, again, I would argue Alan Arkin's best acting in the movie is sheet acting.
I do like how the state of the van kind of adds an extra layer of tension to this whole operation.
Yeah. Of course, you have to. Plus, I like the melancholy comedy here is that we're down a body for moving the car now.
Right.
Exactly.
Anyway,
so the point being, his big Clark Griswold kind of okay, look, we're going to honor my father's wishes. Winners don't give up, right? So again, it's that dual thing. He's gone off as rocker, but by the same token, though, it's he is trying to do the right thing here, but it's still he's just clinging to the only thing he has left now, which is that contest. It's all he's got left now. So is he doing it for the right reasons? I'd like to think so, but is it a certainty? I think it's up to interpretation. We have a really lovely scene.
He's doing it for the right reasons, but I think at this point in the story, there's still the tension of him, the winning thing is still kind of in his head. He hasn't really shaken that yet,
Exactly. So we have a really lovely scene in the car with Frank and Olive where Frank's, ask she asks, "Is there a heaven, Uncle Frank?" And, this guy.
Dude. So fucking Frank's, I love Frank's answer to this, dude. It
was good.
So genuine. And it's I don't know. Maybe no one really knows,
Yeah.
I'm not exactly.
Well, just heard the exchange. It's really the exchange and how he responds to it. It's just the whole thing of she always says, "Do you think I'm going to get into heaven?" He says, "Yeah, I think so." It's just a really nice sentiment, It's really she, without spelling it out or anything. It's not a political thing. It's not a preachy thing. It's just the whole it's just a really nice moment between them after everything they've been through. And the moment we have this really nice moment, then we have the horn gag.
Right.
It's great, just perfect. That's what I'm saying. We go from some. That's what I'm talking about with Carell too. Is you have some genuine, nice pathos, and then the comedy. The horn gets stuck, and this is another National Lampoon's-esque gag. With the cars breaking down all sorts of inconvenient ways, and the beeping horn summons Dean Norris.
Oh, man.
The great and mighty Dean Norris. Look at him, a man, a mountain, a man on a bike.
Yes, Dragon, yes.
Yes.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, this is just I don't even know what to say. This is just classic, just fucking. I like how it is. I'm not going to lie to you, Dragon. When I was watching this on a rewatch, I was very much wait a minute, I forget how they even get out of this. How are they going to get out of this?
Oh, you forgot of it? I always remember
that. I was kind of on the edge of my seat a little bit, Dragon. I was.
Here's the thing. I forgot. Here's the thing. I knew what happened, but I forgot how we spun it into getting out of it scot-free. That part I forgot. So Richard, he says, like, don't open, which is the last thing you ever want to say, and it leads to, he even points it out, like, hey, now you give me probable cause to search the trunk, and he wasn't even counting on that.
Realize you gave me probable cause.
Yep, it's not illegal. It's just, he's saying, oh god,
that's absolutely not something you want to say.
Which is hilarious given what he does find.
Yes. And then, oh my god, just Dean Norris just suddenly becomes like the biggest fucking like
pervy cop.
Yes. Oh man.
Okay, so admittedly, it's a bit of a stretch, but here's the thing, though.
I don't care. This is very.
I know. So we don't care. So we don't care.
Category here.
It's the main reason it's like an homage to the other scene that I think this borrows most from National Lampoon's Vacation. So the scene in National Lampoon's Vacation where Clark has unintentionally, he didn't do it with Mouse, or he hated the dog, he didn't do it with Mouse. He put the leash on the bumper. And then later on, they pull over by a cop who's an animal lover who's really upset, and he explains, "Oh God, I had no idea." And then just like when the cop's getting teary-eyed, he's like, he's trying to fake a tear because he's happy the dog's not on the trip anymore. It's very Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Right.
So this is kind of very much an homage to that scene, but it's a lot more farcical. It's this whole anyway. So he finds the dirty magazine. So again, the father's helping the son from beyond the grave, which is nice, from finding his own body. And so he's going through it. For some reason, he is like, I guess it was hard to come by. I guess it's like, oh hey, I love this magazine. I love this one. They find like the one that was for Frank, which is all men. What cracks, I completely forgot about this. What cracked, Greg Kinnear is hysterical. He just looks like, really? No? Just like, he's trying to spin it, like, he's trying to sell him on it. Like, really? No, it's not good. So, anyways, he leaves that one with him, but he takes him as a bribe. It's like, I don't understand why the cop would necessarily take it as a bribe. It's to get at it. Like, it's a we don't care moment right there. It's like, okay. All right. So then we have Tiki. It's your big moment to shine. So the moment that got Dano cast as you in the biopic.
So this, Dragon, I just want to let you know, I mean, you pretty much already can put the pieces together on it. This is so fucking accurate to what a real panic attack feels like to me, dude. The whole thing, like, the whole idea of, like, your emotions. Okay, Dragon, you know the whole thing with a musical where it's like the emotions get so heightened that we can't just talk about it, we have to sing about it?
Yeah.
Well, for the panic attack, it's kind of like that, except we have to fucking scream and be visceral about it. It's literally like the way that they depict it, and it's so fucking accurate, is it's like your body is so fucking flooded with distress that you physically have to get it out. That, like, to me, it's like the most visceral part of the whole scene isn't when he flees out of the car. That's a great payoff. Don't get me wrong. That's a wonderful payoff to his whole character. But the most visceral part of the whole scene to me is just him in the car and just banging on the fucking ceiling and just like, oh man, I have been there. I've seen my fucking little brother be there. I've probably seen my dad be there to a certain extent. It's so fucking relatable to someone who suffers from panic disorders and stuff like that. And also, what also kind of just breaks my heart about this whole thing, Dragon, is that it comes out of Olive just doing the whole like innocent, like, oh, I'm gonna take the thing from the hospital and use it as like a little recreation for the road trip. It's so innocent, A
little car game, it's like you're doing. He has great vision. He's got great vision, but colorblind.
Oh man!
You know what I like to call this?
And then the acting on Carell too. The acting on Carell when Carell like kind of puts the pieces together, and he knows he's gonna have to be the one to break it to him. But oh, dude, it's so good. It's so.
Do you have great? I really wish you watch more Carell stuff because he's really good.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't pick projects that really appeal to me, honestly. The space one is just like, okay, great. It's another.
You would really like Rooster, though.
Rooster? Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of I did that on. Wait, did I cover that on Memoirs
It
yet?
sounds familiar. It definitely
I
sounds
thought
familiar.
I either covered it on Last Memoirs. It's going to be on this Memoirs. I'm pretty sure it was on Last Memoirs though. But
Okay.
anyway, point being, so also the other thing about the scene, Colorblind Kyle's origin story actually.
Oh no! Oh god!
See, here's the thing. He went through a trauma. He wanted a government job, but in this moment of crisis, his family was there, so that was battle cries for my family. It all stems from this scene.
Oh dude! Okay, I literally want to fucking timestamp this conversation and send it to Jacob Gulliver. I think Jacob Gulliver is going to be super amused by that little observation, Dragon.
Yeah. The origin of Colorblind Kyle, kids. Very
if
moving.
You don't know who Colorblind Kyle is, we're not going to fucking tell you. I honestly think it's funnier if we just leave it hanging.
See, now we just need Paul Dano to say, who's going to help me be the windmill?
Oh my god!
But saying that kind of that Dano-y kind of straight kind of way, just like who's going to help me be the windmill?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right. So he learns his colorblind.
After the actual panic attack, we get him just fucking running full force out of the van, we go through over an hour of this movie with him just no lines of dialogue, and then the first thing out of his mouth is just a very, very visceral just fuck. And oh man, and once again, it's just you feel it so hard, and the way that man. I'm just gonna fast forward to Dragon when Olive goes down and just fucking hugs him.
It's a money shot. You saw how great that frame was composed.
Every fucking time, I lose it, dude. It's basically the fucking indie dramedy equivalent of the Lord of the Rings, my friends, you bow to no one moment. Yeah. It's just instant waterworks.
It's great too. Everything is leading up to that moment too. The mother can't console him, so the father says, "Oh, why don't you give it a try?" So he's getting out of his own way there. It's the beginning of it, It's he sends her down, and she goes again. She doesn't say a word. It's a silent because he's been silent for the whole movie leading up to that. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very solid. Also, part of me's on a lighter note to kind of perk us up for the for the rest.
Right.
Just to perk us up a little here. It makes you wonder, someone could have clipped out his him running out of the car, dropping the F-bomb, as the reaction to the Tarantino dislike. And Paul Dano finding out that Tarantino doesn't like him when he's maybe, let's say, Dano wanted to work at being a Tarantino movie. That clip gets posted. That interview clip gets posted. He's like, boy.
I would honestly be surprised if nobody did that during the whole Tarantino Dano saga.
I would like to think so. Anyway, so we have this crazy drive to get there on time.
This is another just super relatable road trip thing, Dragon. Everybody who has been on a family road trip can relate to the moment of there it is. You see the thing that you want to go to,
yep,
but then wait, where's the exit? Oh my God, you're driving away from it now. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Oh yeah.
Nothing worse than missing that turn. I'll tell you that much, Tiki. Nothing worse.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's see. So, yes, after the crazy drive, we end up being 4 minutes late.
And just let's give it up to the one fucking production guy who puts a stop to the bullshit, because that dude is the true hero of the movie, Dragon.
Kirby. The production guy's name is Kirby, and Kirby's played by an actor I know, I really like. So Kirby is played by he's played by Wallace Langham. So Wallace Langham was Hodges from CSI, and he pops up now and again for Little Blue out there. Because I know he's going to know this. He was Anarchy from Beware the Batman.
Nice.
But it's a point. Wallace Langham, underrated actor, and this was a big one for him. That basically putting the guy in a big movie.
I love the whole ordeal of just the fucking woman is just so steadfast. No, you're late. Late is late. I'd be given an unfair advantage.
She's the computer excuse and everything, and it's seeing. Again, Kinnear, man. Kinnear's my goat during this. I love Kinnear. Just like on
You
a
know what's funny is
fort.
that I can honestly kind of like I've had moments like not this dramatic and not I've witnessed moments that are kind of similar to this where it's like there will be like an open mic and someone will miss the signups and the host will be like, yeah, sorry, we can't do it. We can't do it. You missed it. I don't know what to do. And then like the sound guy or something will come on. It's like, no, we can just fucking sign. It's an extra 3 minutes. Just fucking put them on the list, dude. Come on now. Come on, be reasonable. Like I've seen stuff like that happen. Obviously, not nearly on as cinematic of a level as this, but still, I can relate to the moment where it's like the guy who decides to be the actual fucking adult professional in the room and not be petty about the whole thing.
with Kinnear, just again how much he's been through, and he's so clinging to the hope desperately on this one
He's
thing.
literally just begging this woman, dude.
This I gotta admit, there's one other scene this kind of took me back to. It's really obscure. Okay. I love Michael Sheen. So Michael Sheen, he was in a show called Masters of Sex, and it's about the pioneers and the whole
I mean,
like
that show's
basically.
not that obscure. That show's pretty well known. I haven't seen it, but it's not super obscure.
Well, this I'm just saying this one specific moment from that show. So this
Okay, okay.
it's this one of my favorite episodes. I think it was like season 2, episode 3 or something. But it was basically this scene where it's kind of a bottle episode with the two main characters in a hotel for the large majority of the episode, and he's basically being called in to do like a sex reassignment surgery on a baby. It's basically a question of like do it or do not do it, and it's up to the parents. Anyway, so after this, he goes back to work, and essentially it's this scene where he has a scene with the father, and he's just trying to explain to him he can do the tricky surgery, and kind of like the daughter. Essentially, the child was born the daughter. The point being is, he's this very prideful kind of like man of the 50s. Is he Michael Sheen just kind of breaks down, and he basically kind of just very honestly just says like please, I'm begging you, basically like as honorable as he can. He's just like, please, I'm begging you, just let me do this. And he says, already too late. We called her Sarah. I'm sorry. I guess the thing is that you have a son. Sorry, I screwed up the gender thing. The point being, he tried to say, you have a son. Let me do the surgery to make that happen. He's just like, no, it's my daughter. Her name's Sarah. Like that whole thing. He just did it without even consulting the doctor. Is just this whole anyway. The point being is a very it's just this charged desperation of our lead character who's just everything is stripped away from him. He's just so desperate. He literally has to beg.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
very much, this is very much the equivalent of Chevy Chase like begging to be led into Wally World a little bit before the hostage situation comes into play, of course.
But you know what's perfect about this though? About this moment. It's the fact that it calls back the whole apology is a sign of weakness. Look at how much a sign of weakness this is. It just shows the growth here. Anyway, so Wally Langham is Kirby, I'm trying to think what we would call him, like the sound guy, I guess. Is Kirby the sound guy?
Sounds about right. Or let's say tech guy.
Yeah, the tech guy. So Kirby the tech guy saves the day.
Yeah.
Right. So let's see. So after that, we meet Miss California, which is the most uplifting, positive, beautiful scene in the movie.
I love how this is like it's like the one sliver of light in like the fucked up darkness of the. And I forget, Dragon. I always forget how much time we actually spend at the beauty pageant. Like it makes up basically the whole third act. Like I always forget about that element of it.
Oh yeah,
they really want you to just sit in like, no, this is not a good place to be.
It's the namesake of the movie, man. They have to.
Yeah.
So I love that Miss California is actually a really nice lady. It seems it's a really sweet scene where she's signing like the pictures for free and everything, and she's basically like.
I'm sure you're gonna agree with me on this, but I love the little tidbit of like chocolate cherry Garcia. Although technically, I think that's a frozen yogurt.
Yeah, no, she's right. It is.
That little correction just fucking makes it, dude.
I love it, but she had so much poise, and she was really nice to her. And it was like, "Do you like ice cream?" It's a really sweet little. It's fantastic. And again, it also validates, like your grandpa's right.
I've seen it, and I'm not gonna lie. When I was rewatching, I was like, "Oh no, is it gonna be like is Olive just gonna be kind of like put into a place of like really doubting herself?" But no, it's a good subversion of that.
Yeah. So basically,
with the whole like never meet your heroes trope, you know what I mean?
No, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we have a bit with her later on. I don't know if I assume you've caught, but I wonder if you have with her later during the action. We'll circle back to that in a sec. But
I don't think I have caught it.
I'll point it out there. So we demystify the whole experience of Little Miss Sun, the beauty pageant experience here, which I love. With the bit that drives it home is the creepy biker guy, where we have Richard say like,
He's
"So you're."
wonderful. He is such a fucking wonderful little bit character.
Yeah. So I love that it's like so he's just like sitting there like across from the biker guy, and Richard says, "So you have kid? Who's your kid? Who you have a kid in the show?" He says, "It's your first time, isn't it?" It's,
Mhm,
that's a great dark joke right there. It's really. Well, so
mhm.
basically, that basically epitomizes okay the underbelly of beauty pageants. It's a few things. One, you have the sickos like that who get into it. On the flip side, you have it's just the icky connotations. It's I guess the sad way I can put it is the John Benet Ramsey of it all. The whole thing where we force our kids to grow up too
Wait a
fast.
minute, wait a minute. I think we have a different read on that guy because my read on that guy is that he does have a daughter in the pageant. And he's like, ah, first time, huh?
Oh no, I have a very different read on that. Again, for later on, that's the gag where like, he's clapping after the trashy routine. That's the thing.
No, I get that. Okay. Oh man, this is
Yeah.
interesting. My read on his reaction to that is it's like, okay, fucking it's not he's not clapping for the trashiness. He's clapping because finally someone's fucking like this is so interesting that we have
I
such
mean,
a different
look, I would like to look at it your way, but I'm saying I think the evidence is like, okay, he's just a creepy guy who does not have a kid in the show who got really excited after
well
the
because
very
the
non
whole
PG
like
act.
it's your first time. Like I took that as like, oh, so you're a new dad who this is your first time kind of being around all this bullshit, right? Yeah, welcome to the club, buddy. That's how I read it, dude.
I mean, look, I'll gladly take that. Man, that's good. I mean, if we can kind of purify the guy a little bit. It's just kind of I don't know. It just seems to me the
Well, I mean, when
dark.
I got excited for him, Dragon, I didn't get excited because, like, hey, sex pest. I, I don't know. I always read him as like, yeah,
Well, remember, it's like
he's a dad who's there for his daughter reluctantly, and he clearly doesn't fit into the culture, and that's why he's not enjoying himself. It's not like he's sitting there through the rest of the act, like fucking like actively engaged in it. That's like I said, I think the reason he cheers for the performance at the end has nothing to do with like, oh, it's fucking sexy or whatever. It's just it literally is the exact same reason the audience is cheering for it because it's like, hell yeah, fucking break the hierarchy of this bullshit. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. On my look, I like your read on it. I do. I'm just saying the read that I had was like it's basically we're starting to demystify the experience, and that is a thing that beauty contest. That's kind of the one of the weird things about beauty contests that does happen. Though you do have like the weirdos who really like it more than they should, and that was the beginning of him
I
realizing.
frankly think that in those pageants, if you're a grown ass adult who doesn't
Yeah.
have a kid competing in it, you should not even be allowed in the
Well, that's the
building.
thing, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the problem with the beauty pageant. That's what I'm saying. We're showing the problem, the problematic part of the beauty pageants, and that's
I
one of
don't
them.
know, Dragon. I'm just gonna go ahead and take my head canon and just accept
Look,
it. Like,
look, I wish your head canon was it. I don't think it is though, but I'll take it.
all right.
Okay, regardless though, however, like, glass half full, glass half empty on that, the guy's committing to the bit, and I gotta appreciate that.
He is. He is.
As I'm saying, the idea of like a biker being a kind of the frou-frou pageant is cool either way you take it. It's just the other way
Because
it takes
I feel like the idea of like a biker guy who's like underneath the tough exterior is a sweetheart of a father. I feel like that's a pretty
Look,
common
I
like
love it when we do like the lighthearted biker stuff. I do. The only
yeah
time
yeah yeah.
I've ever seen like a non-friendly biker was when we had the Dogs of Hell and Daredevil. It was the first time I ever, oh my god, they're unfriendly bikers. I've never read it. I thought bikers just look scary. I've grown up with the with the presumption that they're always like there's a nice guy underneath the leather.
I take it you've never watched Sons of Anarchy. I
Well,
haven't
that's
either, but it's coming back for whatever reason because Hollywood is completely out of
did you
ideas.
no wait did you no seriously did you hear the premise of that show though?
Oh God, no.
That premise is awesome, Tika. It's a meta thing.
Is it really?
Yeah, well, it's
Did they
awesome.
want
It
to
has like
reboot?
Tika. I've never watched Sons of Anarchy. I would watch this before I watch Sons of Anarchy. It sounds so good.
Give it to me because I just heard like, oh, the original
Okay,
cast is
so
coming back because we don't have any fucking original ideas
you
anymore.
really
Apparently.
you really just look at the worst parts of any headline, don't you?
Does this surprise you? How long have we been working together?
I'm just saying, like, come on, man, you got to at least read the headline. Okay, so the
Okay,
point.
give me the premise. Hit me with
Okay, the
it.
premise is it's called Legends. It's they greenlit, so I don't know. I hope it's going to go to series, but basically Charlie Hunnam is directing and doing the thing. The point being, it's a meta take of all the Sons of Anarchy cast reunite at like a convention, and then like an action situation kind of breaks out. So it's basically all of them, and just kind of it's a meta thing or whatever.
Oh,
I don't know what the threat is. I don't know if it's going to be super. I don't know if it's going to be zombies or what, or like I don't know
wait.
what's going to
So
happen.
they're playing themselves?
Yes,
Like
they're
they're
playing themselves,
so it's
meeting
like
at
a
a
this is the
convention.
end sort of situation.
Yes, yes, Tiki.
Okay,
That's what
no,
I'm
that
saying.
obviously does make me more intrigued for it, and I would
That's what I'm
watch that
saying.
before
Some
I watch
events
the
happening. I
comes
don't know
back
if it's
from
like a
that.
die-hard situation, a zombie, or like an end of the world situation. The point being, something's
Uh-huh.
happening at the convention, and they're all banding together as themselves. But that's what Yeah.
Right, right, right.
Anyway, to refocus a bit here. The point being, biker aside, the underbelly of the pageants that we definitely do see on display here is the whole thing of like it's again the kids kind of forced to
The
grow up, and it's the whole
creepiest part of the whole thing to me is the host just like singing to all the
yeah
girls, like and just getting in their faces and I Dragon, I love Abigail Breslin's performance when he's up in her face about
yeah
it because you can see like she's trying so hard to keep it together, but she's clearly her body language is clearly giving discomfort. And I
yeah.
that's like a kind of like an advanced skill level for her age, as an actress. Like it's very impressive. And she was nominated for an Oscar for this movie.
No, yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like I said before, it's kind of that weird. It's kind of like the John Benet Ramsey thing, where again everyone was like, there was always like this weird, the beauty pageants is just this on the surface, it's like, oh look, you put your daughter in a candy fair, you put her in like a dress, okay, makes the kid feel good, all right. But then it's like this whole like the stage moms and they're parading them around. You're putting rouge on like an underage kid. It's weird.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what we hit on here. We have like the MC who's really creepy, and later on he's also really prissy
That's what
too.
I'm saying, man. I feel like the MC is basically taking the brunt of the creep factor in
Yeah,
this.
for sure. Yeah, and the point being, so during all this, Richard's starting to get the suspicion of like, okay, he's getting weirded out by it, but more so, he's like, she's outclassed here, and my 9 step philosophy has given her unrealistic perception, and I like an idiot that I am, I've driven home this 9 steps thing, and you gotta win win win, and if you don't win, we don't accept that. It's like, oh god, I've set her up for the ultimate fail. This is
And
bad.
again, just very, very satisfying, screenplay closing the loop for sure.
Oh yeah. So also we had the Prost conversation,
Uh-huh.
with the across the beach with our two characters, and we had this really good line from Carell. It's about Prost. His whole thing was that is basically suffering was when he was suffering most is when he had all the good times, and when he was at his happiest, it was like a waste. Like happiness was
Sounds
a
like a
waste.
stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So anyway, so then we have life is like an endless beauty contest observation from Dwayne, and he's optimistic that he'll find some way to fly
Mhm.
because he'll get back there someday, Tiki.
Right, right.
Now, tell me that's not a duet you'd like to see on a Muppet
You know
Show
what would be
revival.
what would be wonderful, Dragon? You know what would be a wonderful resolution for Dwayne is if he
What?
just got really into roller coasters. If he just became a little coaster head like
Yes, and
me.
then he could meet Gonzo at like an event of some kind, ask him questions about his dating life with the chicken.
But legitimately, dude, I mean, I know that I'm going back there someday is like obviously about way more than just Gonzo's thrill seeking.
Yeah,
But like inherently, that's always kind of how I've read that song. And I when I listen to that song, I do kind of relate it to how I feel about roller coasters, honestly.
yeah, yeah. But also seriously, I mean, this Paul Dano and Gonzo like interacting on a Muppet Show would be hilarious.
I'm so Don't get me
I know.
started on the fact that the Muppet Show did not get an announcement. The whole goddamn it's not.
Yeah.
They literally opened a fucking new ride with the Muppets, but no. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway. Okay, so point being, again, we see the underbelly of the pageant experience. We have our big moment. So, like, Richard has doubts, and all the families coming together. Like, okay, we got to pull Olive out of this, and then it's like up to the mom, and the mom basically backs the kid. Again, she's sticking by her daughter, which is good. So big moment again. The big the one of the reasons Little Miss Sunshine is is like one of the lauded movies that it is. One of the reasons, many reasons, but this was always like the big. This is why I made the list.
Well, the whole thesis for the screenplay, and I probably should have brought this up in the background. I apologize, but one of the big theses for the screenplay was essentially the idea that these characters start the movie in totally different places in their life, totally different emotional places, and they all come together in this moment. And it's a simple idea, it's a simple it's a family picture. They're coming together as a family. But the way that we get to that point, what my favorite part of the whole thing is I love how protective Dwayne is over the whole situation.
Oh yeah.
That is a fucking damn good big brother right there.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Calls the mother out, but in a loving way. So, look, it's your job. You have to protect her, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the big moment in particular I'm talking about is Super Freak.
Of course.
So yeah, her performance is, and I love, by the way, I love the build up. I completely forgot about this. Kirby saying, "Is this your grandpa picked this?" Like, yeah, huh? Yeah, he's like, he appreciates the choice. He's down for this choice. Like it's a music choice that none of the others. But again, so this is more definitely what your biker theory is, and mainly with this guy Kirby. It's like Kirby. He loves the refreshing choices here because remember from the beginning when he signed her in, he hates the prissy, kind of pageanty attitude like that snooty lady had. It's just like I'm definitely not doing this next year because he just hates how no
that
fun.
snooty lady, by the way, she has maybe 10 minutes of screen time, but she pretty firmly establishes herself as maybe the closest thing this movie has to a proper villain.
Yeah. So, but you're right though. Absolutely, she's definitely the big bad, I'd say. So basically, Olive performs dance because we set up the whole thing. She has this dance routine worked out. We have Super Freak playing. Yeah, I mean, I love funk. I love this kind of so it's Well, actually, wait, Super Freak. Yeah, we can call it funk. What did you?
Oh yeah, I would. I mean, I'm not an expert when it comes to fucking different music subgenres, but I would call it funk.
Yeah. I was kind of associated with funk, but I never really gave it a second thought. Like, wait, isn't funk? Anyway.
Well, it's kind of what is rap? What is hip hop? I don't fucking know.
The R&B is in there somewhere.
But I don't know.
The point being, we have Super Freak. It's a good song, but you never really think about the lyrics. And of course, now you think about the lyrics as we're showing. Olive's routine is not just dancing in a kind of a quirky outfit. She's removing the quirky outfit. It is an innocent version of a striptease, but it is a striptease.
I love how through all of the grandpa's characterization, it's you get the perfect picture of the fact that this guy loves the hell out of his granddaughter. There's nothing inherently creepy or malicious about it. It's just basically it's a generational thing. He just doesn't get how it would to him it's empowering, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, man. I don't think, let me put it this way, okay? The biker thing I think is the biker thing I think that's just kind of a read on dark comedy, okay? People could have taken this in a really bad direction, but I don't think anyone did because again, Alan Arkin did such an effective job to illustrating the love for the granddaughter and everything. And
exactly.
This is the idea, from the gig. He says, "This is dedicated to my grandpa." He says, "Oh, where is your grandpa?" He's in the trunk. It's just really funny. Anyway, so everyone is horrified except you'll notice. Here's the thing: I was circling. Okay, Miss California is the only person not horrified. She's actually, she's actually got a
Oh
smile on
yeah,
her
no,
face.
I
She's
have
liking
noticed
it.
that. I have noticed that. Yeah.
I really wish she was like she clapped with the other two guys. We don't see her clap. That bugs me so much because
Hmm.
it would have been perfect. It would have been a big win for her. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, we have the dance routine. Again, Abigail Breslin doing a really good job with the dance routine, despite how messed up it is. But it's um, but again, it's out of place of love and the ideas stuff. This is like when Grant. She's probably. I get the sense that it paints a picture that the Olive probably asked like, Grandpa, what kind of dance do you like to see, or what kind of dance do you like? And they says, well, and just kind of filled it in from there, and just kind of like kind of instructing her. Okay, this is how this kind of dance would be most effective, or whatever.
Hmm.
Anyway, so everyone's horrified except for, like I said, Miss California and the family members. I believe Frank first and foremost. Like Frank's the one who says, "Hey, like he's." I think Frank came to the defense first, which I really liked. So Frank and the family, they go up to defend her, and then obviously Richard's like on the stage, and they end up dancing with her. But we have this bit here where the Percy MC, yeah, he was very wrong to go after chase after the girl and try and like physically stop her on the stage. And I think Richard was well within his rights to pull a Hank Hill and kick the crap out of that guy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Absolutely, and but here's like the moment he didn't even hurt him. He's like held it, like just held his arms, and he was like, It's like, oh man, I really wanted to see someone punch that guy. I really did. Anyway,
Sure.
yeah. So Kirby and the point being, they all dance and they refuse to like put a damper on. It was a really big moment for Richard, where it's like it's like the moment where he has to accept this is a loss. She has no way of winning, but you know what? We're gonna have fun with with the fact that we tried.
Hmm.
Positive memory of it. So Kirby and the creepy biker guy clap, or maybe again, Kirby and the biker guy clap. Hopefully, the non-creepy biker guy clap. Let's just go Kirby and the biker guy.
The very good father who's here to support his daughter,
Look,
Dragon.
I want it to be that, okay? I want it to be that. I'm just looking at it again. Like the movie is listed as a dark comedy, man. That's what it's listed as when you look up
Well,
the
yeah,
movie.
but there's a lot of other dark shit that happens in this movie outside of that one thing.
I'm not saying it's just the one. I'm
Okay, you
saying
know what? We're
based
spending
on.
entirely too much time on this. I don't want this whole debate to take up like a third of
It's
the whole.
not a debate. I'm just saying. I want you to be. I'm going to assume you're right. Okay, we're just going to move on.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
The point being, they get banned from after everything's said and done. They get banned from any and all pageants in California, which thankfully is not looked at in a negative way. One, she dodges a bullet, frankly, but secondly, they're all very proud of her. Grandpa will be proud of her, and she's happy with herself, and that's what's important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And one last ride, pushing the car, and they crash through the gate, which is really funny. And the snooty lady is stunned, shock, and awe.
And then I love how we have the riding off into the sunset, but with the sound of the broken horn. Just chef's
Yeah.
kiss. And then I will shout out the song that plays over the end credits. It's called Till the End of Time by Devotchka. For me, that's got to be one of the best like end credit songs that I can think of. I mean, I just think I love the whistling in that song. I feel like it just really sums up the flavors and the themes of the movie incredibly well. I don't know if you've ever actually like taken the time to really listen to it. I'm more of a music guy than you are, but yeah. Anyways. Okay, so that's about it then.
Yeah. So I'd say it's pretty good, right? It's a pretty good movie, right? I'd say it's a pretty good movie, right?
It's all right. It's all right. Decent.
Teetering
on mid. No, I'm kidding, obviously.
See, coming from you, you have to say you're kidding on that one.
Right.
Captain Mid, this guy. The
Captain
Midway,
Mid.
they called the Midway, they called him.
The Midway. Oh, God.
So he just leans back in the armchair and says, I'm the Midway.
Uh-huh.
If I were married, it'd be the midwife. Anyway, so look, seriously, Little Miss Sunshine, like I said, it's the indie darling of version of National Lampoon's Vacation in terms of a classic in every sense. But this is just Michael Arndt. He outdid himself. Chef's kiss. This is what gets the man Toy Story 3, and of course another film that even tops this film. But I just you know, it holds up, man. It holds up when you rewatch it. You find new things about it, which is the mark of any good film. But it's it kind of hit me some places when I rewatched it. Like places I wouldn't have been then versus now, even.
Oh
So
no, without a doubt, without a doubt. I mean, I still find Dwayne to be the most relatable character for me because that character basically is just me on screen. But but no, I related far more to Greg Kinnear's character in this movie on a rewatch as a grown ass man in his mid-30s than I ever did watching it as a teenager. I totally feel you on that. Yeah.
that, and again, the whole Edwin stuff, I think really hit harder now after life experiences and stuff. But it was
Of
it was
course,
very
of
again.
course.
Carell obviously had the appreciation I have for Carell now versus then as well. It's like, oh my god, we're seeing kind of the stuff I laud him for now, and just kind of the beginnings of it here. So it's all relative. It's all. Oh,
Mhm.
by the way, you know what? Did we anything you want to highlight about Tony Collette? Because I know that earlier we, Little Blue said Tiki's girl. So I know you
Well,
love
I mean,
Tony Collette,
no, I feel like her role kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit with
just like it did
just
this podcast.
well, yeah, just because I feel like everyone else has very, very memorable character arcs where she is really just kind of the glue that's desperately trying to keep the family together, which is kind of like not the most flashy role. But no, I mean, I think she does a fantastic job. I don't think this is up there with like one of her best performances. I mean, you know what I think her best performance is. Hello, Hereditary.
Yeah.
But still, she's very good in it. You know what I will say, Dragon. One thing I do want to bring up. I love Alan Arkin in this movie, and I'm sure that you obviously have a sentimental attachment to the character now. I honestly think, to this day, I was a little bit annoyed that Alan Arkin, he does a great job, but I think Paul Dano and Steve Carell as supporting actors kind of outshine him a little bit. Not even to say that, like, Arkin's doing a great job, but I'm saying, like, Steve Carell and Paul Dano, to me, kind of steal the whole movie as far as their performances. So I don't know. Granted, I am glad that Arkin won the Oscar ultimately, but that's always something where it's like I kind of wish at least one of them would have been nominated alongside Arkin. And of course, keep in mind Paul Dano has still yet to be nominated for an Oscar. Maybe Tarantino has something to do with that. But yeah. Okay, any other final thoughts on your end?
No, just it's a classic, and 20 years later, it's still I don't think it's lost any of its juice. I mean, I don't know if you get away with. I'm not saying you get away with making a movie like this, but I don't think the stars aligned to make a movie like a classic like this. It's like something.
Uh-huh.
It's like again, this was like as far as an indie movie goes. I mean, this was like obviously indie movies had come before, but this one was like this is the Mount Rushmore of indie movies. This is like it's on there. It's one of the
Uh-huh.
So a lot of movies get kind of a cult status. I mean, Little Miss Sunshine was like the indie movie that actually broke through and became successful. It was absolutely an indie movie. It's on a budget. It's very, it's very, again, so it's very grounded. It's very just kind of concise in what it needs to do and say, and just it's again, it was on everyone's lips for a while, and then it just kind of drifted away, but it was never like kind of gone, and just kind of came around the bend.
Yeah, totally. No, I think this is a stone cold classic. It's weird to think that it's 20 years old, dude, because it really does not. It feels like a few years ago that this movie comes out. It really is just yeah, it really is just time flies. But like we keep saying, I think the script is kind of the secret weapon. Obviously, the cast is great. I think it's well shot. I love the score and everything. The Volkswagen is a great, vehicle character in the movie, but it really does come down to the script. This script is just fucking perfect. I genuinely think this might be one of the all-time best screenplays ever in a movie, just hands down, just because of how perfect it is, how everything comes together, the setups and payoffs and the character arcs, and how satisfying it is, how cathartic it is. And I think this movie's going to be timeless. I really do. I think the longer that this is in the public consciousness, I think the more people are just gonna just embrace it. I mean, people already have embraced it. I feel like it's absolutely more popular and more iconic now than it was like in the couple years after it came out. But because the year it came out, the fucking movie that was all over the Oscars, which I wasn't crazy about, was was it The Departed? Was The Departed 2006 or 2004? Or was it it was it was The Departed. And The Departed, that I remember that drove me crazy, Dragon, with the Oscars, just because I'm like, okay, it's a decent Scorsese movie. It's not the best Scorsese movie, and you people are clearly just fucking. This is clearly just well, we haven't given Scorsese an Oscar yet, so god damn it, we need to. We need to give him all the Oscars now. And I don't know, like The Departed's fine, but I think this would have been a much more satisfying Best Picture win. You bet your ass I was rooting for this to win Best Picture. I think it's really cool that it even got nominated for Best Picture, considering not a lot of comedies do get in there. So, yeah, timeless classic, instantly iconic. Just every part of this movie just plays so fucking well. I really don't know what else to say about it.
All
right. Dragon, do you have a little quip you'd like to end on?
Maybe not a quip, but just word of wisdom,
Okay.
Winners try. If you try, you win.
There you go. Have a good night, folks.